rock and roll. All right. Hello and welcome to part 2 of the day 1 Amber Heard testimony with Theater Kid and Theater Kid's mom. Say hi, Theater Kid's mom.
Hi.
Hey. Okay. If you turn your volume down like 2/3 my volume down, you want me to be as quiet? Okay, there you go. I liked the way it sounded last time, so I don't want to mess with it too much because it sounded fine. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, here we go. So excited to watch the second half of this. Okay, cool. Let's do this. So we found out all the people are standing for the jury coming in, I guess, is what's happening. I don't know. Is that what you said? They're standing for the jury?
Yes, but they don't always do that. I mean, in court, but they are in this one.
Yeah, for reference, that emoji means he disappeared. Mysterious Johnny Depp disappearing. Yeah, why do they stand for the jury sometimes and not other times?
I don't know. I know they always stand for the judge.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. Your next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Amber, I'm going to take you up to March of 2013. Can you describe your relationship with Mr. Depp during that month? And we'll start there.
I remember that was after a period of some peace, and then and sobriety. Johnny was sober, drinking Beck's, and my dad, who was struggling with alcohol and drug addiction at the time, had fallen off the wagon, and I remember he said, "Why don't we I want to send a picture to your dad of support," because my sister was upset with my dad.
God, I hate this.
And so he poured a shot and kind of said, "Let's take a picture." I don't drink spirits, but I know that, I kind of held up in that picture. It's kind of eerie because I just think it's bizarre. He had broken this long period of sobriety that I thought was going to be the end of him drinking forever. Sounds foolish now, but I held up this kind of glass with him, and we sent the picture to my dad because I didn't know what else.
You can't see her now. That's what you're telling me? I swear to God, Mom. I swear. You can't see her. Okay.
But if you're toasting someone's sobriety, why are you raising a glass to them?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Her story is nonsensical.
She's trying to make it seem, but then she's trying to make it seem nonsensical. She's trying to be like, I don't understand. It didn't make any sense to me why that would happen. Let me see.
Well, can everyone else see her?
Yeah, I can see it on my stream.
But can they? Ask them.
What do you mean? I can see what is on the stream.
Oh, never mind. I see it now.
Between the two of us, I'm surprised we're able to do this. Okay. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense why why they would be toasting to someone's sobriety. It's not clear.
That he was drinking, and then the month got really crazy from that point on. It was a bit of a revolving door of accusations. He was accusing me of having affairs with, frankly, just one person. I had an acquaintance with somebody, and he was accusing me of being with them, and then it was accusing me of being with my friend, the one I had seen in Spain. I'm in these kind of arguments, nothing I do is working. Walking out of the room is me leaving him, walking away from me, hey, where are you going? I'm talking to you. That it went from that to pulling me in by my arm, still shouting about the accusations. I'm trying to diffuse the situation by trying to tell him I'm not sleeping with this person and I'm not sleeping with that person. And it was kind of, as soon as it seemed as though I had convinced him of one, there was somebody else he was sure I was sleeping with.
What would you do if your wife hung out with Elon Musk?
Is that who she's referring to?
I know that's one of the people, because it was like James Franco, and then there's the Elon Musk situation and all that. There was like multiple people. Because the one with the video of like in his penthouse is James Franco. Like that was like in the penthouse they had together, and he's like going out the elevator or something. But it's just like, what if your wife was hanging out with an eccentric billionaire? How would you feel?
By herself, yes.
I was like, how would? Nah, me and Elon are just good friends, and then anyone interacts with Elon realize he's the most awkward human that's ever existed, and is like, what? What do you mean?
And it was a revolving door at the time. A painting I had hanging on the wall, done by my ex, who's an artist. That was one day he was convinced that was proof I was sleeping with her, or having an affair with her. I didn't really love him, and all the while I'm madly in love with him and trying to convince him. So March started with this picture of him doing a shot, and he's kind of saying, let's send it to your dad to show support. And what I remember of March is just like it's almost like it was a never-ending fight. It was just, there were breaks in it. What kept me in it is because I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, the sobriety shoe, if you will. I kept waiting for...
Mom, what's the sobriety shoe?
I think that she's talking about the cycles and that he would stop drinking. She was hoping that he would have the break of not drinking or drugging, I guess.
Yeah, like going back and forth through it.
Mm-hmm.
Him to get to the point where it's not supportable or anymore, and he's done with it and he's ready to get clean and sober again, because there commences a period of like pure joy. And it was one fight after the other, March.
So let me start with the painting incident. Please tell the jury what happened on that particular incident with the painting.
As I mentioned, the painting, which had been hanging there for months, one day he kind of stayed up doing cocaine, just drinking, doing cocaine.
That whole jar of cocaine that he had on the coffee table.
Music, which is not in and of itself that weird in my relationship with Johnny at this point. Like he stays up and keeps weird hours and smokes and stuff. But he was drinking brown liquor and doing a lot of cocaine, and it was like, it became clear to me in that argument, if you will, that he wasn't making sense. He had effectively just taken, it seemed like, a turn and had decided that the painting was an offense that he could not forgive me for. It meant I was having an...
Mom, did you figure out what this painting looks like?
I do not, but who calls it brown liquor?
He was drinking a brown liquor. Well, she said before that she didn't drink spirits.
But I mean, most people know if somebody's drinking whiskey or bourbon.
He was drinking a brown liquid. It could have been paint in liquid. Who knows? Crazier stuff. I also like how there's so much stuff around painting at this point. Like, we've already heard him like chop his finger off and put his blood in paint everywhere. Like, Johnny Depp is really an artist at heart. You know what I mean? He's always
paint,
always trying
blood.
to create. What did you
And
say?
she's into sculptures.
Well, yeah, because she had the All right, as it's not gonna get fixed.
I'm
It is
sorry.
what it is.
It's our setup. Yeah.
This had worked fine last time. It'll be fine when it goes on the internet this time.
An affair with my ex-partner, with whom I had already split, and it made no sense to me. So I'm trying to kind of quell the accusations by saying, it's been there, and what are you talking about? And it's like, that doesn't mean anything. And, he was demanding I take it down. He eventually takes it down and tries to burn it, but it was unsuccessful, luckily, because he was not, he wasn't, with one of those normal, what do you call them, Bic lighters, he wasn't very successful at doing it while drinking, to the extent he was. But I remember it was this kind of ridiculous fight, like didn't feel like it needed to be an argument, but it seemed like nothing I could do, nothing I could say. I tried leaving. I left the room. I left the house. I eventually came back. It was like a whole night, an evening, a night, and then a morning of this. So this morning in particular, I think it was the 22nd of March. There were several incidents in March, though. But in this particular one, he had something to go to. He was filming with Keith Richards and Tom Waits.
Why does she remember who he was filming? She just remembers such weird details of all of these stories that she tells. He was filming with these specific people on this specific day 6 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday with Keith Richards in my living room.
Before you go into that part, let's pull up Defendants Exhibit 161, which is
Hey.
admitted into evidence.
Yeah.
I think the reason is because she gets a lot of identity hanging around with famous people.
Which is why she's like Marilyn Manson, blah, blah, blah. Real small girl of a small town outside of Austin vibes to me.
Evidence, I believe, Your Honor.
Yes, 161 with redactions.
Thank you. And I'm going to show you Defendants Exhibit 161. And the date on this is 3/12/2013, and it's a text exchange between you and Mr. Depp. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. And the first one is from you to Mr. Depp. Just thought you should know there exists a book. Is that to you? Is it to Mr. Depp from you, or it's vice versa?
It's Johnny texting me.
Just thought you should know there exists a book titled Disco Bloodbath. And then you say, we need that book. And you say, is this about last Friday night by any chance? And he says, how can you make me smile about such a hideous moment? And I'm not going to repeat the rest of it. Could you tell the jury what happened on that Friday night?
No, I need it verbatim.
There were, like I said, there was a few different incidents in March. I believe this one had been.
Mom, what are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm sorry, I was trying to read the little tiny words.
In the Eastern Columbia building, which are one of Johnny's penthouses. They're in downtown, so a different part of Los Angeles. And we'd sometimes go there. I remember he was accusing me again of sleeping with this artist, this musician who I'd never slept with. I was denying it. I barely knew the person. And then he was accusing me of sleeping with my friend in Spain. And I remember nothing I could do. He called.
Why is it says Amber Heard, but it just says Depp as? Why is
because they do that in when they type up the court cases. They refer to them that way, Depp versus Heard or whatever.
Yeah, but she's got her first and last name, and he's just his last name.
I can't really see it, so I can't really tell you.
Well, that's what it says.
This person on the phone and screamed at screamed at him. He didn't speak English, so he was really confused as to what he was being yelled at by Johnny. But I remember those were the accusations. That was the fight. But it was one to the next accusation. And I remember I was kind of doing that juggling act. I was in one of these fights, I believe it's this one, in his downtown ECB, we call it, loft. And we're in the kitchen living room area, and he backhands me. And, it was...
But did it hurt this time? When you got backhanded? Or did it not? Did you get backhanded 3 times and it still not hurt?
He wears a lot of rings.
Which was my point last time. He wears a lot of rings, so even if he slaps you, like, softly, it's still gonna hurt.
I remember kind of just feeling like my lip went into my teeth. And it got a little blood on the wall. Just that simple, a little bit of blood on the wall. As hard as it is to explain this, I was so caught up in the relationship and also very occupied in defending what I only could assume he believed, these accusations, that, I didn't internalize, like, I didn't make that big of a deal of it. I kind of pride myself on being tough, and, I don't make a big deal out of, smaller injuries. And I know that sounds...
And getting smacked in the face where there's blood on the wall is a small injury? I don't know. Getting backhanded by somebody with rings on their hands is a small injury? No.
Horrible, because and hard maybe to understand, but my best way to cope with it is I kind of, minimize it, make sure no one, make sure he knows that I'm tough and can't knock me down, and I make a joke of it, clearly.
Clearly? What does that mean, clearly?
I'm going to, Michelle, if you can take this one down and bring up 170A.
I want to see your text messages.
Did there
She
come
really
a
likes to
time
describe herself
in
as tough.
March,
You don't say.
Amber, where you sent a picture to your mom?
Yes, this is sometime in March 2013. I sent it to her because I had been texting about some of the craziness, and
Objection, hearsay.
I'll sustain as to what she may have texted. All right, next question.
Without saying what you said in the text, explain why you were sending it to your mom.
I was reaching out. I was very lonely in what I was living in, and I wanted help. I wanted advice, help.
Why is it hearsay what she said in the text to her mom?
Well, because her mom can't be questioned about the text if she doesn't actually have the text.
But you can't, so you, if it was a conversation, she could say it and it's not hearsay.
Well,
But
her
if it's a
mom's
text
dead,
message, it
so
is?
she can't. Her mom's dead, so she can't
Oh.
address it.
So you can't say experiences you have, things you have said to people. Because it can't be corroborated. If they can't be corroborated, then it doesn't.
Yes, it needs to be able to be corroborated.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm there. I got it.
I just wanted to talk to somebody and figure out how I could make this stop.
And is this a picture that you took of yourself in March of 2013?
I did.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendants Exhibit 170A.
Any objection?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, 170A in evidence, you can publish the picture.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The bruise.
And how did you sustain that bruise, Amber?
I had thrown a,
Look at that old
well,
iPhone.
Johnny slapped me. I walked away from him, and that made it worse. We got into like a shouting match. And he kind of did this thing with his body where I could tell he was going to hit me again. I picked up I remember it kind of like a little pot, not a pot, but like a vase. And I remember I got away from him enough as he reels back. I threw it in his direction, and I actually managed to get away before he got me. He grabbed me by the arm, and he kind of just held me on the floor, screaming at me. I don't know how many times he hit me in the face, but
That picture sure doesn't look like she got hit in the face.
No, with rings.
With rings, and that doesn't look like somebody punched you with rings either. It looks like a straight circular like bruise, like a grab on your arm.
That's what it looks
I don't
like
know
to
how
me.
many times he punched me in the face. It was 0. That's how many times. What are you gonna say, Mom?
No, I was gonna say, I've been talking about her story, and I have actually, my ex-husband was arrested for domestic violence, and I have experience with this, so I'm not just saying it.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's really, when you get hit, it looks a certain way,
Right.
and you don't. Anyway.
It doesn't look, that picture with her saying, I don't know how many times I hit in the face, it doesn't look like she got hit in the face. It looks like she has a bruise on her arm that could be from anything. Someone grabs you on your arm, you have like finger, like the in-betweens of your
Yes.
fingers on your arm. Like you have, there's, but especially not the face hitting. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think Johnny was the funeral, although it was having problems. I think I remember when the news first started covering it years ago. Yeah, all of this stuff, yeah.
I remember being on the floor of my apartment, and I remember thinking, how could this happen to me again?
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the straight up emoting that is happening right now. Because she, like, takes the pauses to, like, when you notice, and that's why it's always, like, it almost seems like bad acting to me. Because it's, like, you can see the definite places where she's, like, okay, and this is the part where I get upset. And and that's like bad actor habits. And so it's just a weird thing to see as someone who has a successful film career, because you're like, what? Even you aren't great at this.
Up 170. Thank you, Michelle. And
Dude, speaking to the mic,
if
my
we
guy.
can, and just to start, it's 3/23/2013. If you can scroll up. This is a text message exchange with your mom, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's go. Scroll down and then.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to hearsay.
Let's wait until we get to the spot.
She's like, let's wait till we get there. She's like, nope, it's hearsay. No, it is.
That lawyer is too much.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it first.
All right, and is this the picture that you sent to your mom on 3/23/2013?
Thanks for the sub, Prophet. I appreciate it. Say thanks for the sub, Mom.
Thank you for the sub.
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of 170, just that picture that's on the text.
With no words?
Well, it says from 2 weeks ago on it.
Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
You're on.
If we redact the from 2 weeks ago, can we admit it then? And then just have the showing that she sent it to her mom
May
for
we
the
approach,
date?
Your Honor?
There is a lot of that in this trial because they keep wanting to put things in evidence that's hearsay.
Yeah. That purple drink. I'm Amber Heard, and I can't just drink regular water. I heard that. I heard that. The Johnny Depp doesn't look at her because he's like, because he's like not giving her reactions. Like he's like, I'm not gonna, or either he said that or his lawyer advised like, hey, don't give her any kind of reactions.
He also said she would never look in his eyes again
Feel that?
in
Why is he wearing those
2016.
dope shades? What is happening to this screen? Oh my god. Y'all need to get it together. Whatever has pre-recorded this.
It's called panning, right?
There's a gray screen. Well, now it's just frozen.
Oh,
It's still going. It's probably lemonade or something. Dude, I don't know. But she's been drinking that purple drink all day. And she's probably one of those ladies that like, I don't like
Yes,
the
it
taste
is.
of
On March
water.
23rd, 2013.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, it was from a previous fight,
Okay.
the bruise.
All right. Now, did you have any other altercations in March 2013 with Mr. Depp?
Yes, we had a couple of these fights in Orange that were around this time, one of which I started to tell you about the painting.
You know, and I know I've interrupted you now twice on that, but I realize the jury doesn't. Can you tell them what you mean by orange at Orange?
I was just about to be like, are we talking about Orange County? Like, what are we talking about? I'm so glad she said that because I was just about to be like, what is Orange?
Sorry, Orange was my apartment that I kept in Los Angeles at the time.
And it was an apartment. What type of an apartment?
I rented the top of a duplex, so it was a house with the landlord living on the bottom floor. I rented the top floor.
Okay. Thank you. Now,
Interesting.
please continue with the painting. I'm sorry.
It seemed like nothing I could say to Johnny would convince him. He wanted me to remove the painting, and he wanted me to admit to this affair that I wasn't having. And I didn't want to admit to it because it's not true.
Happening.
So I held out, and he just drank more and did more cocaine. And I woke up the next morning, I think it was on the 22nd or the 23rd. I woke up in the morning and the breakfast table was like cocaine and booze. And I realized that I wasn't going to be able to talk I wasn't going to be able to talk our situation down. I wasn't going to be able to talk him out of it. And he was just so convinced that I was fighting with him or at the reason that he wouldn't leave the house. And he had something to go film that was important. And there were important people waiting for him. And I remember people were reaching out, his assistants, his manager sister, everyone was wondering where he was. And I kept feeling embarrassed and unable to move this person out of my house. I couldn't calm him down. I couldn't change. He was just so intent on me admitting the details of this affair that I wasn't having. And me pointing out that the cocaine wasn't making his situation any better made me the bad guy.
Get this, Johnny. I think maybe doing like a bunch of lines of coke a day is probably not helping the situation. Whatever issues we're having in our marriage, all the cocaine's probably not helping. Just speculation. Objection, hearsay.
Cop. Then I'm the nag. So eventually I called my sister. He had a kind of a buddy-buddy relationship with her at the time, and at the time she occasionally did cocaine. I didn't, but she did, and so I was like, hey, come take
She didn't, because she just does cocaine in the courtroom. So, you know. You know.
over. Maybe you can buddy him and talk him into leaving the house, just getting out of the house. And she did. I remember his assistants trying to get him out. Like, we eventually in the evening, I think early evening, he finally agrees to leave, but I can't tell our relationship status. I can't tell if he still is convinced of these things or if he's just going to sleep it off and it's going to go back to normal sobriety, sorry kind of phase. And
the thing about it is, like, when she's talking about that with his sobriety and her struggles with that, like, I kind of do believe her feelings about that the same way earlier in her testimony she was talking about the situation with the dress. You know what I mean? Mom.
Yes, I do, but that dress was hideous. Did you see it?
Yeah, it was real ugly. It was really. If y'all haven't seen the dress that she was talking about in the first, the first half, is a really ugly dress, and she like makes it off to be because it was very like scandalous or whatever. And no, she had like a swimming cap on while she was in this dress.
I mean, it looked like a costume.
It
Not a
did.
dress.
It was like, oh, I'm in Aquaman. So I'm wearing
Yes.
this thing that has fish scales on it. It was quite ugly. I heard it was very expensive. Well, of course, everything's gonna be very expensive that you're gonna wear like that. Cocaine must be awesome. It must be awesome. People are doing all this stuff over it. It must be awesome. But when she talks about the situation with the dress, and then when she talks about this stuff with dealing with sobriety, I do definitely hear like the hurt or whatever in like what she's talking about. But when she's talking about the other stuff, I just don't get any of that.
Yes, and also one of the things I was thinking of is she's making a really big deal about the bruise, but someone that's been thrown off of horses probably has had a lot of bruises.
Yeah. As she
Not
eventually...
that it would be okay for a man to do that. I'm not saying
Right.
but yeah. So
like I said, it's a you can get a bruise. You can get a bruise in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, you can get a bruise. You can give yourself a bruise in a lot of ways.
Oh yes, I walk into a wall and give myself a bruise.
I have bruises on my legs at all times from being myself, from existing.
He was still upset, but like seemingly calming down. So I agreed to go with him. He wanted me to go to the shoot. I had plans, so I kind of reluctantly agreed, but didn't want to set anything off. I didn't want to engage anymore. I didn't want to do anything that could be perceived as antagonizing him or engaging more. So I went with him. We grabbed the dogs. We get in the car. We're on the way there. We're headed up. Sweetser is the street. It's a major street that leads up to Johnny's houses. He effectively owns the end of the street. It's like a cul-de-sac. So we're nowhere near his home, but we were driving up this street, and he has the window down. He's smoking. It wasn't all the way down, but he's constantly smoking. And at some point, he starts howling out of the window, and then grabs two small dogs. Well, one was Johnny's dog, and one was my dog. But he grabs, if I remember correctly, Boo, his dog, slightly chunkier teacup Yorkie, and he grabs this teacup Yorkie and holds Boo out of the window of the moving car, and he's howling like an animal, while holding the dog out of the window. And everyone in the car, I'll never forget it, everyone just froze. No one did anything.
Who else was in the car? Is she gonna tell us who else was in the car to corroborate this story?
No, she does not.
Yeah, I'm gonna put money on the fact that she does not do that. That she does not go, oh, and these are the 3 people that were also in the car. And I bet you that on Cross they're gonna bring that up.
Yes.
And I too was like torn as to what I should do, because I didn't want to do anything to cause him to react, drop the dog. You know, it was just this eerie moment where he's howling and holding this animal outside of the car window. And more than that weird memory is more than that weird memory, I have a memory of everyone just kind of not really reacting to him. Like no one really kind of did anything. I eventually kind of pulled his arms gently back into the vehicle and kind of got the dog back on this.
This is completely out of left field, but I'm gonna need somebody to do an analysis to see if Johnny Depp has changed his rings day by day. I just need to know if these are the same rings he's been wearing the whole time. If maybe he has a sponsorship for rings. No. In the comments, you can see down below. I have a link where you can buy rings that look just like Johnny Depp's ring, and I'll get a percentage of sales. That was an unconventional way of plugging that, but link below.
Okay, I have some information.
Okay.
There's a skull ring.
Okay.
There is a Jolly Roger in the form of a skull.
Okay, so like a pirate ring, yeah.
The boned and skull in the ring design are wrapped with the bandana that holds the ring in Depp's finger. He has a red eye skull ring.
He likes skulls.
And he likes the skull, his red-eyed skull ring, it says.
Yeah. I can see him being a skulls kind of guy. I can see that. But yeah, you too can have Johnny Depp's rings. Link below. Is that all your ring information? All your ring facts?
So far, yes.
Okay. Please interject later with more ring facts. Dun 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 dun. Ring facts.
We continued driving, but no one reacted. They just kind of avoided dealing with it. We get to the place, the house.
So that's why I'm confused. Why is this not hearsay?
Well, they're letting her talk because on Cross they're going to be like, who witnessed this event? You said people were there.
Right.
You know, and they're just letting her talk because her story sounds fantastical.
Okay. I'm pretty sure dog out the window of a moving car is like dog heaven. Pretty sure that dog is having the time of his life. He's just, that little teacup Yorkie's like, oh my gosh, yeah, howl with me, Johnny, howl.
He was filming this thing that he was late for, I suppose, for the day. And we walk in. Meanwhile, I've been bombarded by text messages and calls and conversations with everyone seemingly so stressed about...
Objection, hearsay.
All right.
Because who's stressed?
Somebody else,
right?
Just what you observed.
I
Right,
understood
she can
everyone
only
was
say what
stressed.
she
They
experienced,
seemed
not what
stressed
anyone
to
else
me
experienced.
about the tardiness. Where is he? Let's get him there, so we get him there. And no one reacts when we get in. I mean, we walk into this house where everyone was waiting for him, and everyone smiles and says, hey, boss.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Let's, Michelle, can we pull up 167A?
Okay, we have a Tonto ring.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's the guy he played in Lone Ranger.
Yes, and then he has a Pirates of the Caribbean ring from his film team.
Okay, it's like a real rap gift.
And the reason that he likes skulls, because the skull reminds us that even if we encounter problems, we have to face them.
Why does that mean that?
Because you have to face your problems. And
Because
that's what it says, he said.
that's fine, Johnny. You're an artist at heart. I get it. I understand, Johnny. Interesting.
I think is B the one that's in 167 B?
Speak into the microphone, woman.
Oh, it's A. Okay, then go ahead and pull up A. Does Your Honor show that one to be in 167A? Defendants, I'm sorry.
Well, this might be your 167A, but it's in evidence as a plaintiff's number, and I'm not sure which plaintiff's number it is. I don't need it in twice, so.
I would agree.
So they're just so unorganized. Is that what's happening right now?
Your Honor, I don't think it's this version of the photograph that's been admitted. So it's a
different version.
it's a
Same
different-
photograph, but a little different. Is that what we're?
It's not the same photograph.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, then
so
we'll go with it.
what happens is the evidence that the plaintiffs and the defense have to be submitted to each
Right.
other.
Right, because they have to agree to let it in trial and stuff like that, right?
Yes, and they keep trying to bring things in that either the judge didn't let in because it didn't meet the level of integrity it needed to
Right.
meet, or it's hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they keep trying to do this. You'll see them keep trying to insert evidence that shouldn't be put in.
Right, and then I was noticing, I don't remember when it was, but I saw a clip or something about them having the numbers off and stuff, and the judge being very like, I have this number, and they're like, oh no, it's this, oh I misspoke, and then it's this, and I'm just like, what is up with y'all?
What they're trying to do is throw it up there so the jury sees something.
That's what I figured.
Mm-hmm.
Or be like, oh, look at all this evidence that we're not able to see. There's all this stuff that is that actually proves her point that we're not able to see. Da 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 da.
And evidently, the defense did not submit a bunch of evidence that the plaintiff, Johnny Depp's team, requested.
Oh. And that will probably come back to bite them too, yeah?
I hope so.
We'll see. Only time will tell.
What number is it?
Do you recognize this photo?
Yes, I do.
Please tell the jury what it is.
It's a picture I took of my breakfast table that morning.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendants Exhibit 167A.
167A. Any objection?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Sure.
May we approach? This is not the same photo. I wonder what's different about it. On this day, she had eggs. She had waffles on that day. With
Because, I
purple.
mean, these things, you don't know whether a picture is truthfully taken at a certain time unless you have the data, behind it and things like that. You can't just say, hey, this picture was taken this day on it may not have been.
Right, it has to be proven it's true.
Yes.
So we,
This stenographer, that's what it is. It's the stenographer, the person, that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? The person that types up all the stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Court
Does
reporter.
Did they do that whenever they're going to when they approach?
No.
Okay.
It's only what's in open court.
Right. A photo's metadata is easily edited. Yes, I think that's the big thing, is being like, oh, this could be a photo, but this is a retouched photo, or this is a. And so if you aren't doing, if you haven't checked everything, and there's people that check those kinds of things.
I'm gonna have to check that about the court reporter. I'm not sure. I'm gonna look that up.
Because I was seeing her like still going, but she could have just been catching up, I guess.
It's called the sidebars.
Ah.
okay.
Okay.
And
Is that a little tube for
remember you
snorting
said
cocaine?
that you took this that morning. Is that
Yes.
correct? Could you tell the jury what the box is that has the property with the skull bones, property of
Okay,
JD?
it's a cocaine box.
That's Johnny's drug box. I've seen it used for pills, but at the time it was bags of coke, like dime bags.
What'd I say?
Okay. And what are
It's
these
cocaine box.
white lines on the table to the left of that box?
That is cocaine.
Okay.
Picture again.
And do you know what is in these two glasses that have kind of a gold colored liquor?
Yes, they're different, actually. It's confusing. They're different, different liquids. The one in the back in the larger glass is, I believe at the time I was doing these tabs, or Barocca, that's what they're called. They're little tablets. And anyway, I remember at the time that's what I was putting in my water because I had just come back from France where they sell them. And then the brown liquid in the shot glass is Johnny's liquor. I don't know what it's called, but we kept it in the freezer.
She doesn't know what any liquor is called?
Oh, by the
Privilege.
way, most of the sidebar is not recorded. The only time it's recorded is when the judge says, "Put this on the record."
Right, okay. Because I guess it's them going over specific rules and stuff.
Yes, and they might not want the jury to know something.
Right. I can't get over the fact that she has a terrible haircut and she doesn't know what any brown liquor is. Something brown that we kept in the freezer.
I'm sorry. As much as that girl parties, she knows she knows all those wines. She knows what it is.
Dude, she's over the age of 30. You at least know somebody's drinking bourbon or scotch or whatever. Like, you know. A brown liquid.
At the time, it was at that time, March 2013, I hadn't, I still didn't have the, hard line. I won't even keep that, in my freezer sort of attitude or posture with him. I wasn't that bold at the time, I didn't like it, but I didn't have that strength.
I didn't have that "you can't keep that brown liquid in my freezer" attitude. That's the kind of attitude I have. I have the "you can't keep that brown liquid in the freezer" of my freezer. Facts, it's in the freezer. Yes, brown liquor is gross. I mean, it depends, but I learned that Fireball actually is whiskey-flavored liqueur. It's not actually whiskey. So technically it's not brown. But hey, tell me in the comments if it's not true.
I kind of, at that time, I think, was doing things like trying to pour it out when I could.
So what is the bag, the brown bag on the left side? What is that?
That's a DOP kit. It's his prescriptions and cigarette, tobacco, weed, things like that.
Okay.
Oh, look, yeah, you can see the lines of Coke. Okay, I didn't see those the first time. Is that like a tampon end?
I don't know.
That's what it looks like. You know what I'm talking about? What?
I don't see where you're talking
The
about.
blue thing that's beside his ID?
Oh, the dispenser thing? Yeah, it does look
That's what
like
that
it.
looks like, is a little...
Well,
I
maybe
don't know.
maybe it's used
Yeah, is that
in
a
a
common
different
thing?
way. I don't know.
I
I'll
know
Google
people
that
use,
too.
this goes to show you how much information I have about snorting cocaine, but like, I know people use like money, like they roll up money. I don't know why you wouldn't just use a straw. That seems like the best course of action, like cut up a straw. Maybe that could like cut your nose or something. I don't know, but that confirm or deny if that is like the insert part of the tampon, because it seems like that's what it is.
Above it, there appears to be a CD of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
DVD, something. Do you recognize that?
Yes, it's the single, I believe is what it's called, the single he was making at the time. I think that's the song that they were filming a video for, if I'm correct.
Okay. All right. Now, did you end up sending a copy of this picture to Rocky Pennington that day?
I did. I sent it to my best friend at the time.
Why is that
and,
not hearsay?
You know, it was like, look at my morning.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay, you can't say what you said, but you sent it to your friend, correct?
I
Let's
sent
go
it
to
to my friend.
167,
Figured
please.
it out.
What?
I was like, why is that not hearsay? And then it was.
So there's a lot of confusion as to why there was a tampon on the table.
Look at me. Well, I think it's just the snorter part. I think it's just to snort the cocaine.
People says that they doubt Depp would use a tampon applicator to snort coke.
Yeah, I'm sure he has like a special like metal straw or something.
But listen to this person who said this on Twitter. I've done lots of cocaine, not me, but the person on Twitter. And there are 0 times any cocaine is ever left in lines on the table.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. Was this like, yeah.
And is that the email in which you sent this picture to Rocky Pennington on 3/22,
Yes.
2013? Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of the picture with the redaction of the message on it, with the top with identifier redactions, and we take out the rest of it.
Oh, all right. Any objection?
No objection.
All right, so we'll do those redactions, 167 and evidence with redactions.
He also has a Cherokee Indian ring.
Oh, well, that's not surprising.
And may we publish, please?
Because he was apparently, this is just what I've heard, I don't know if this is fact, but when he was Tonto, he was like, went to like the chief of the specific tribe that like Tonto's from, and they like ordained him into the tribe and everything. That's
But he does have Native American roots.
right. Sort of like people taking pictures of their food. Maybe it's sort of like people taking pictures of their food before they eat it. They take pictures of the line of cocaine before they snort it. Is he Cherokee? Is he Cherokee, Mom? You look it up.
Well, his Vanessa Paradise gave it to him for his 40th birthday day. Cherokee symbolized his deep Native American roots, so I believe so.
Yeah.
All right, and is this the text message, the email that you sent to Rocky with this picture?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to take you to, let's go to Hicksville.
Hicksville?
Let's tell the jury about Hicksville, May 2013.
Let's go
Can
to
you tell the jury
Hicksville.
what transpired at Hicksville?
It is
It'd be emotional.
it's a like a fancy trailer park, like a little hotel in the middle of nowhere, set up with these little trailers, and we had made a plan to go there with friends, and we were going to do, like laffy, as we said, laffy drugs, like mushrooms, eat mushrooms, sit by a campfire. There's really not a whole lot else to do out there. It's like a getaway. We had made
What are you laughing at?
There's nothing else to do but take psychedelics out there.
In Hicksville. Imagine that. Imagine that.
These people are not very creative.
plan. And it was going fine. It was like a, kind of like a party out in the desert, with a few friends and campfire and music. And I don't know somebody brought MDMA. It was being passed around, and somebody who took it kind of was starting to feel the effects of it, I guess is the best way to describe. She kind of reacted in this way where when the MDMA hit her, she kind of, we were sitting around a campfire, all of us, and she kind of just leaned into me and put her, head on my shoulder and kind of grabbed my arm. I took it, to be the effects of the drug. And I think I had eaten a mushroom cap, but was not feeling anything at the time. I don't remember feeling anything because the night just kind of changed pretty dramatically before I really felt anything of the effects of that. But
Okay, I want to stop this for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's using the word cap.
I think it's because...
No, I'm saying I don't understand the purpose of it, because you're going to get messed up if you eat mushrooms. Like, you're going to get real messed up.
I can tell you, definitely, I'm not the psychedelics information person, but I do think I've recalled people saying there's a difference between those two things. But skipping between all of that is, what's up, Kilo? Skipping between, like, doing MDMA and a different psychedelic at the same time, that would fry my brain.
I just don't understand why she's trying to act like she wasn't messed up. I mean,
well, what I'm saying is maybe she didn't hit her yet, was what she was saying. But I don't know how it couldn't have at the time.
We were in, and as soon as she kind of did this thing where she leaned into me, Johnny gets really activated. He gets really upset, and he starts. Well, at first, she thought he was kidding too. She thought he was kind of making a joke. I think we all did. Everyone kind of responded at first, that like it was a joke. But he was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing?" And she kind of giggled and kind of leaned into me more, and I knew in my body just instantly that it wasn't a joke. But she didn't. So she's kind of still attached to my arm when he says it again to her louder. He says, "Hey, man, you think you're touching my fucking girl? You think you're touching my fucking girl? That's my fucking girl." And he gets louder and louder. And she kind of did this thing, half understanding what was going on. I think she kind of started to cry at this point.
She's messed
but
up.
She kind of threw up her hands, and Johnny grabbed her wrist and kind of twisted it and pulled her into him and said, "Do you know how many pounds of pressure it takes to break a human wrist?"
Okay, now
it's like a super villain quote.
Again, this person does not have a name.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking is, where's that lady? Where is she?
Yeah, they're just letting her go off,
Right.
And he kind of held her, and she just looked frozen. And she's crying, and was just denying understanding what was going on. I stepped in. I kind of take Johnny's arm around, kind of take Johnny's hand, and kind of we start communicating. I don't remember if he immediately was accusing me or if it was sometime after. I wish I remembered, but we agreed that we'd go and talk about it in the trailer. So we walked to the trailer, and when we're in the trailer, Johnny, by the time we get into the trailer, Johnny tells me that I had been instigating the, and asking for this, and that I had invited it, and that I hadn't been honest with him about my relationship with this woman. And I didn't really know her that well. I mean, I actually don't know her at all, but I had met her. And I remember in the trailer, he's accusing me of lying about it, and that I had something with her. I'm trying to diffuse that. I'm trying to calm him down. And he just turned all that, it seemed like he turned all that rage onto the trailer itself. And he just started smashing things. He picked up something on the table and threw it right into the glass cabinet. He hit with his hand a wall sconce. He cleared the tabletop on the little fold down like kitchen dining room area in this trailer. I mean, it's a trailer, so there's only so much you can do. And he's screaming at me, just screaming at me. And I eventually go back into the bedroom area. He comes into the bedroom area. We had what I can only describe as it sounded like nonsense from him. It wasn't making sense. And I realized that he's just probably really high. Because it wasn't making sense anymore. It wasn't like a direct accusation. He wasn't hearing me when I was saying I wasn't involved, wasn't cheating on him. I wasn't secretly trying to engage this woman in some sort of sexual affair. And then it became clear to me he was like looking for something. He cleared things off the bed. I went into the bathroom, and as I come out, he asked me where it is and how long I've been hiding it. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he says, you know what I'm fucking talking about. You know what I'm fucking talking about. Be honest with me. Where are you hiding it? And he kind of like makes to look into the bathroom. And I gestured to the bathroom, which was to my right. I kind of like gestured to him and I said, like, what am I hiding and where am I going to hide it? And we're standing in this little hallway area outside of the bathroom, and he starts, what feels like patting me down or saying he's patting me down. I can't recall, but he ripped my dress, the strap top part of my dress. I had just dyed this thing myself, pink, and it's just one of those things I was like, that's just finished that dress. And he's like grabbing my breasts, he's touching my thighs.
Well, I don't understand why that little comment was made about her dyeing the dress. That's weird.
She's like, I dyed it myself. I'm very crafty. There's a link.
She's attached.
Huh?
She's attached to those dresses.
Yeah. She very, very much is excited about that.
But did you notice when she started talking about this whole situation, she said he got activated? And I'm like, who uses activated when they're talking about a person?
Got activated.
I mean, a machine maybe.
She says weird stuff. A robot? She says weird stuff, man. I don't know.
He rips my underwear off.
Dude, eyebrow raise.
And then
that must be so hard to do.
Proceeds to do a cavity search. He said he was looking for his drugs, his cocaine, his coke. I was wondering how somebody who didn't do cocaine and was against it, that was in and of itself causing problems in our relationship. How could I hide? Why would I hide his drugs from, like he was insinuating that I was doing it or something? It made no sense. And he was telling me we're gonna conduct a cavity search, shall we?
I just I don't understand. It's like, how did, like we told so much of this story and so much random detail in this story, and then we get to this part and it's like you're describing an extremely traumatic event, but you like you're not actually emotional about it. You're just pretending to be emotional about it. And yet when like I don't know. I always feel like so strange like saying these things about her testimony because like obviously like I know a lot of people that have had assault situations like this, and it just makes me like unbearably mad because I'm like there's so many people that just like go on with their lives and don't tell people about the trauma that they've endured and all this kinds of stuff, or like have said it to me or whatever. And so like I've seen people talk about it, you know what I mean? And so there's just like this bullshit lever that's just like pushed in the back of my brain when I see her talking about it, and then it just makes me so mad.
Well, and I really wonder though if she's real flirtatious, like when she's around people, especially messed up. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know,
Because,
like messed up. I mean, I'm sure messed up most people would be. You just don't have your same kind of faculties.
but I
Um,
mean, I wonder if she's got histrionic. She may be flirty.
well, I mean, if she's got BPD, I mean, which
Yeah.
is what somebody said she had.
Well, histrionic and BPD.
Yeah. But yeah, like this face right here, like she's like trying. I don't know. It's very such an interesting time we're living in right now. Like,
It would be nice. I'm gonna do a Google search on if anyone's seen her flirt with people.
okay.
Just shoved his fingers inside me.
Like, I'm gonna give you a good example of this. Y'all ever seen Law and Order SVU? Okay, so those people are what are known as actors, right? And they are acting a thing in front of you, but you believe it because they are good actors, right? This is basically an episode of Law and Order SVU, and we're trying to decide who the predator is, right? Or the jury is. And you just don't sympathize with her like at all. And I really am not sure like even though like the believability of her statements and all of the evidence thus far and all those kinds of things are she has a lot stacked against her, but her own personal testimony is just so unbelievable. I just don't understand how an episode of Law and Order SVU is more convincing than Amber Heard is right now. Do you find anything, Mom?
Not yet.
I just stood there staring at the stupid light.
Again,
I didn't know what,
detail.
I didn't know what to do. I just stood there. While he did that, he just twisted his fingers around. I don't.
Really trying.
I didn't say like stop or anything. I just.
So the next morning, what transpired?
I remember thinking that Johnny would change his mind.
About what?
And it would be.
It's not that they're fake tears. It's that there are none. There aren't any tears.
Yeah, I thought it would end differently. I kind of froze. I don't know how we went to bed that night. I don't know how I went to bed.
That's another great point. She got from one thought to another really fast. And the lawyer also isn't being like, I'll give you a minute, you know, like you do with victims.
I don't know how I slept. I don't know how we woke up. I don't remember having a conversation with him the next day. I don't remember talking to him about it or confronting him about it. I remember wanting it to be okay. I remember just wanting whatever fucking weird trip, whatever trip that was to end, you know, just to be over and for it to just go back to normal. And I remember my friends were out by the pool, like there was a pool in the center of the.
Did you catch that where she was saying F and then she caught herself saying it?
Yeah.
and apologized. But she likes to use that word a lot, like that Johnny says it. But did you see she just easily said it? Not that I mean I
Ah,
understand,
yeah.
but that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, she went into her own vernacular and then she was like, "Oh wait, no. I am that's not how I talk. I don't speak that way."
Park, and I remember putting on my, just putting on my face and going back into this like crap, and I remember seeing my friends by the pool thinking they were just having a great time, and no one knew what was, I felt so lonely, like no one knows everyone was just having a good time, like normal stuff. So I just smiled and made a joke about how trashed the trailer got, and we had to get the manager, who started off furious that Johnny had wrecked the thing. And then he had this like black mesh tank top, not tank top, it was like a
Now Johnny Depp does trash hotel rooms and stuff. That is definitely a Johnny Depp. That is definitely a rock star Johnny Depp thing.
meshy kind of shirt on. And I remember he came into the trailer and looked around and was like, whoa, what happened here? Whoa. And Johnny had an exchange with him.
Did you see those lawyers in the back just look at each other and smile?
And I remember watching this man be so charmed. It was just a kind of a surreal experience, and it just went away. That just got fixed. We walked out of the trailer at some point. My dog stepped on a bee. We went to the vet and went
Another
on with
unnecessary fact.
our vacation. We actually went to another
Your
location after
dog
that, and
stepped
then
on a bee.
eventually went home and went about our life.
I'm going to ask you to take a look. Michelle, can you bring up Defendants Exhibit 176?
I need to know. I need to know everything they're saying to each other. That's when he took the candy.
Would there come a time that
Look at me and
you
Johnny Depp's candy.
wrote an email?
Objection, leading, and hearsay, Your Honor. May we approach?
All right.
May we approach? Because this lady's trying to get everything past us right now. Something juicy has happened. This lawyer right now, this like lead lawyer for Johnny, is having like the best time of his life. I love when the lawyer's just like, what? You can see, or the judge, where she just puts her hands up like, what? What do you mean? I wonder if she'll do it again. She's like, I don't agree. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yes. I wonder how much the metallic is worth.
In June 2013, how were you feeling about your relationship with Mr. Depp?
May we have the exhibit taken away from...
sure.
Thank you.
Could you please stop trying to give evidence to the jury they're not supposed to see in attempts to make this a mistrial? Thank you.
By June, I was so torn. I was so in love with this person. Because when it was good, it was so good.
This after the cavity surgery.
You've never felt love like that. At least that's how it felt. So much.
See,
felt
that part I believe. Like that part of it. Where she is like, I was so in love with him. Da, da, da.
Recognized me and I recognized him, and there was just something there that
See?
was the
She's
love of my
actually
life.
having real emotions about it. So I don't know. Am I crazy? Because I definitely see a big difference between the way she's talking about that right then and anything else she's talked about. Mom.
What?
When she's talking about how like in love with him she is,
Yeah. Right.
and or was, current, past, present tense. I just definitely feel it a lot harder than in any other way. You know?
Yeah, but she's also kind of going with fantastical thinking, like.
Oh, for sure. But
Yeah.
it's like it's the love the person, hate the person, love the person, hate the person. You know?
Well, there was some rumors of Amber Heard being too flirty with Jason Momoa and Lisa, and him and his wife broke up after that.
Yikes.
And he was. He was. But he was also this other thing.
See, she's actually
He was also this other thing. And that other thing was
Ugh.
awful. Awful thing that would come out and take over, and it was, you couldn't see the Johnny I loved underneath it. It was this other thing. And no one told him. No one was honest with him. No one, he'd pass out in his own vomit. He'd lose control of his body, he'd lose control, and everyone would clean up after him. I cleaned up after him. I mean, this man lost control of his bowels, and I cleaned up after him.
Okay, dude.
His security
we
cleaned
get
up
the
after him,
image.
changed his pants in front of me. He would pass out in his own sick. And then he'd walk around saying...
We have established that Johnny Depp had a drug and alcohol problem. We all know that. That is
Well,
not
and
what... Mm-hmm.
and people have cleaned up after her bowels as well, from what we hear.
But it's just like he is not on trial for the fact that he was an addict. Like, that is
Right.
not what he's on trial for. Or he's not on trial for anything. But they are in civil court because of her defamating his name. It isn't about... He has said that he was on drugs. He has said that he drank an obscene amount of alcohol. He has said he has partied, blah, blah, blah. He has admitted to all of those kinds of things. That is not what he is on trial for.
Right.
But you know what I mean. They're not on trial for anything. It's just money. But also another thing is, why is this, if he did a cavity search on you, if he did the other stuff on you that she talks about later, then why is this not in criminal court?
Exactly.
That's my thing. It's like, you don't have enough evidence to prove it in criminal court? Because this is
Only-
civil court.
Only until he sued her did she start saying this stuff.
Right, and I'm just like, if that is the case, now there's statute of limitations for some stuff, but I don't think they're talking about their marriage from 2016. I don't think the statute of limitations are out on some of that stuff. I don't know for sure. I don't know the laws in California, but still. I hate to be
wherever
that
they
person
were.
that's like, huh?
Or wherever they were when it occurred.
Right. I hate to be that person to say, well, why aren't you pressing charges or whatever? But if she's on the stand testifying to this stuff under oath, why is it in civil court and not criminal court?
He didn't have a problem. Until he did.
Well, I'll say, well, when she was saying that she didn't say no, you can still not physically say no and still have a crime committed against you, and that person can still go to jail for their crime, even if you do not actually say the words N-O out of your mouth.
Well, he couldn't support it anymore, and he'd get clean, and he'd get sober, and then he was this thing again. This thing that made me feel so loved, that made me feel like... like my soulmate, as cheesy as that sounds. I just felt like he knew me. And I recognized something in him, either some part of my makeup and my background or something that I just got it. And I loved him and understood him. It just got so scary, the other part of him. And in June, I wanted to leave him. I didn't want to leave him. I wanted to leave him. I wanted him to get better. And he expressed to me so many times when he was in that period of getting clean and sober, he would tell me, "You saved my life. Baby girl, you saved my life."
Kid.
Everyone else was saying that to me, and I believed it. You know, if everyone else was saying it, he was saying it. I thought, just like his other friends who had gotten clean and sober and stayed that way, his older friends, these rock stars that he hung out with that had like gotten clean and sober and they had 20, 30 years, something, you know, I thought, and Johnny told me he would be that person, that he was going to be that person, and I believed it. I had so much, I looked at that man twice my age, you know, I was 25, looking at this man twice my age, and I saw hope and like promise. I had so much hope.
Girlfriend, your frontal lobe was developed, my guy. You 25. I obviously have feelings about this.
You know, the whole thing, kids and growing old together, sort of hope. If it was just for this one thing that he could do, which would save his life, which would be to get clean and sober. And I believed it. And I wrote this letter to myself, among many letters to myself.
Objection, hearsay.
All she did was refer to that she wrote it. She isn't saying what she said.
I'll overrule for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
I
I
wrote
was
that
like, that
letter
doesn't make
because
sense.
I
Something she, like, journaled.
thought it would be read to him. I could read it to him. I could say it to him in intervention, you know, in help. And he would later thank me for, as he did, as he used to thank me all the time for saving his life.
I want to make sure that I have stated how much I hate her here in this. Whatever she has done, whatever's been done to her, I hate this. I want to make sure that is abundantly clear.
Did there come a time later in June that you finally met Johnny's kids?
After they're married?
Sorry. Yeah, I finally met them in the summer of 2013. I had been with Johnny for over a year, maybe like a year and a half at this point,
Before they were married?
is my best guess. And I was dying to meet them, you know, dying to get to know these kids. I felt like I knew them already. I had his daughters, and Jack's, both of his kids' art on my fridge, and I had never even met them. You know, Johnny had brought them over one day and kindly given them to me, and I had them up on my fridge because I felt like I knew them, just how much he talked about them. And I finally got to meet them at the Lone Ranger premiere at Disneyland. Summer 2013.
So then I'm going to jump to, and it's not much of a jump, to June 26, 2013. There was a plane ride to Russia with Johnny. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Tell the jury about that particular event.
Well, that was the first and last time I ever decided it would be a decent idea to do drugs with Johnny. I did.
That was the first time? That was the first time. I don't know why I find that a little difficult to believe.
Did MDMA with him on the plane.
And that's the first one you did was MDMA? Oh, wow.
Which was as stupid as it may sound. I just had never, I was very against, obviously the cocaine had been a problem. I was very much against him using cocaine. I was against the drinking, supportive of the sobriety, but I'm 26 maybe, ish. And I wanted, I had never heard of anyone making MDMA like what I had done MDMA before. I thought it's a lovey drug. It's it's like a kind of, I never knew anyone to get violent on it. And,
just product
I thought,
instead,
well,
yeah.
this is
But
a
no
relatively
alcohol.
contained environment.
No spirits.
Maybe this will be different. Maybe I can be a good cop and be part of the, I don't have to be the lesbian counselor all the time, as you would say. I can maybe be the fun girlfriend. And I learned the hard way that was not happening.
Does anybody see Amber Heard and think that she is the quote-unquote lesbian camp counselor? Is anyone getting that vibe from her other than her atrocious haircut right now? No. I thought for once after a year and a half of being together, I could be that fun girlfriend.
So what happened?
Well, we took MDMA. I took a capsule. It's like a powder in a capsule. I took a capsule, and Johnny took several. I didn't count, but
Handful.
it's very different when you see someone take one versus a handful of something. But nothing that seemed to set any alarm bells off, and things were going fine until the flight attendant got involved. The flight attendant came by, was engaging with us. I don't think that they're really, it felt like it was before the effects of the drug took over. It was relatively soon after we first took our dose, if you can say. And the flight attendant, Johnny offered her some. She, of course, said no. And then after some back and forth between them, Johnny convinced her that it would be fine. So she acquiesced and took MDMA with us. And within, a few minutes go by, and the same thing happened that happened on the mushrooms at Hicksville with the woman, Kelly Sue, who I told you about. Flight attendant got friendly.
She just named that woman at Hicksville.
Okay.
Go.
Just friendly, just like MDMA friendly, was kind of, I'm a woman, he's a man, so she was naturally, I think, more comfortable with me physically. She kind of leaned into me and kind of sat on the arm of the chair I was sitting in. I mean, after all, she's on drugs, and Johnny grabs her hand and tells her not to touch me, and she kind of reacts in a way like defending herself and was trying to clarify.
I will say one thing. Way to go, Johnny Depp, for not being genderedly jealous. Because so many people are like, oh, it's okay if my girlfriend flirts with women because that doesn't encroach on my masculinity. But he's like, no men, no women. Equally, I will be pissed off. Way to go for the next step of equality, Johnny Depp.
And he grabbed her by the wrist and slammed it down on the table and told her he could break her wrist. And I remember thinking, I've heard this before. And that was a pattern that would repeat itself a few times. These things would happen in these kind of cycles where there'd be a certain element that would get filtered for a while, whether it's an accusation or a gesture, and that would be the thing that he looped on. I called it loops. And he grabs her wrist and he tells her to break her wrist. She cries instantly, denies it, is so apologetic, eventually he lets go. She goes to the front of the plane where the flight attendant, normally hangs out, and the doors close, and I don't see her much of that whole flight.
Mom, what are you watching this on?
What do you mean?
I just hear feedback.
Oh,
It's been throughout the whole thing, but it was like really bad just now. So if you're did something different, stop doing that. It's fine.
We land in Russia, and I don't really remember, I don't recall any violence on the plane between Johnny and I, but I remember feeling this tension because I was wondering when it was gonna aim at me. Because he had this particular thing about, at the time I understood he had a particular thing, a sensitivity about me and women, because I had a female partner.
Right. Okay.
So I was feeling nervous, anxious, and I remember we had a very quiet ride, at least I didn't say anything, to the ride to the hotel. And almost as soon as we get into the hotel room, Johnny's accusing me of effectively having engaged that, caused that. I, of course, deny it, point out what I thought was obvious, that, we'd given her drugs, it's wasn't an affair, wasn't, and I'm trying to argue and defend myself at the same time. And at one point, Johnny just shoves me, just shoves me hard. And I fall back onto this glass table. I catch myself on the table. I don't know how some furniture got knocked around. There was I'm trying to stand up for myself. I'm trying to stand up, literally. I'm not, at this point, I don't even try to hit back or try to run. I'm in this hotel room trying to do my best to fight mostly the verbal accusations, but also I try to stay on my feet,
I can't get over the fact that they have not tried to get this bottle of hand sanitizer out of the way of this thing that has been viewed millions of times. There's just this random bottle of hand sanitizer at the bottom left of the screen. And it's been there the entire trial.
At some point, Johnny whacks me in the face. And
not slaps, not backhands.
I don't remember feeling pain or awareness of my nose or anything. I don't remember thinking that. I remember kind of crying and feeling, I went into the bathroom and I wanted him to have I just remember wanting him to realize what had happened. I wanted him to kind of snap out of it. I wanted him to care. I wanted him to realize what was going on, because a big part of this, I felt like he wasn't aware. There was this sense that he didn't know what was going on. Again, I don't know how much of the drugs or alcohol is a part of this, but I remember crying. I came out at some point because I don't hear him in that room. I remember we had been arguing in the main room, but I went out to the hallway, which is where I presume he walked out, and his bodyguard, Jerry Judge, was in the hall. And I don't recall seeing Johnny in the hallway, but I remember seeing Jerry Judge, who gestured to my
Objection,
nose.
hearsay.
She's just saying gesture. He hasn't said anything yet.
All right, gesture's fine. I'll overrule the objection.
He gestures to my nose and holds out his handkerchief, like a cloth handkerchief. And I instantly felt...
Apparently, since Johnny Depp doesn't hit hard enough to hurt, how he thinks he's going to break all these wrists. True.
I just felt really embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I don't know how else to describe it. I just felt like just really embarrassing. And I went inside the room.
What, if any, injury did you have?
I had a little blood coming out of my nose. I didn't know it. I didn't feel it at the time until Jerry gave me Jerry let me know. And I went inside
Jerry the house, man.
the hotel room, and
Jerry,
As embarrassing as it is,
He's the guy that lives in their apartment, right?
no, he was a long-term security guy for Johnny Depp, but he's since died.
Oh, okay. So why is that not hearsay?
Right.
I remember just wanting. I remember just wanting Johnny to say sorry. I wanted him to realize it. It's so stupid, but I like the emotional part. You know, I just wanted him to acknowledge that this was that he could hurt me, you know, and I wanted it to be okay. I didn't want him to think I was interested in this flight attendant. I didn't want him to think that I would capable of cheating on him. I was in love with him. I just wanted things to be okay.
Let's take you to July 9, 2013. Did there come a time that you went for a ride you went to the Bahamas and went on a ride?
I'm trying to remember what that had anything to do with the question, which was meeting his kids.
With Johnny and his kids?
Oh, here we go.
Well, it's less like we flew out to the Bahamas to his island. He was selling the yacht to J.K. Rowling, and he wanted to kind of have a goodbye.
What a sentence! Well, a couple of sentences. We were flying out to his island in the Bahamas. He was selling his yacht to J.K. Rowling. What an interesting group of words there.
Trip on the yacht, so it was docked off the island, and I went with him and his kids, who I had quickly developed a bond with and loved, and we brought a friend along with us, I think, to kind of help, and yeah.
Okay. Tell the jury what happened on that trip.
Johnny was upset that he had to sell the boat. And he was off the wagon again, but he didn't want to tell his kids, so he was hiding it from them. He was putting it in coffee cups and drinking, and the behavior just kind of like, he was upset, he was emotional, and he just, that's how he dealt with it, just drink. But there's just no off button with Johnny. So he just kept drinking, and the behavior kept getting more obviously drunk. And Lily Rose, his daughter at the time, was young, just like maybe 14.
His daughter at the time was young. I thought she was saying his daughter at the time. And I was like, she stopped being his daughter.
And she started to get panicky and started to ask me questions about his drinking.
Objection, hearsay.
Without saying what Lily Rose was saying, please continue on.
Sustain the objection.
Thank you.
So she was asking me questions about the drinking,
Oh, she answered
and was very upset.
Sustain the objection.
Yeah, you can't say what Lily Rose said.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you can tell gestures, you can tell, and you can say what you and Mr. Depp said, okay?
Sorry. So she was upset, and Johnny we were with the kids, and he kind of threw himself off the boat in a half playful way, like a dead fish kind of way. I don't know how to describe it, almost like a belly flop. But we were on a smaller boat parked next to the yacht, and he's jumping. He jumped off the front of it, but kind of in a face, chest forward way, like it looked a little scary, like not something somebody would do if they're completely okay. It was started off all of us kind of taking turns jumping off the edge of the yacht into the water, and then he.
Okay, can we stop this for a second? If you've been around men at all with water, they act very goofy and do silly
Pushing
things. You
people
know what I mean?
in and-
Yeah. So what she's saying sounds very like she hasn't been around a lot of men.
Or like
Chelsea's
many
at-
of their kids hanging
Right.
out like
Right.
around water. Yeah.
Throws himself over, and it looked a little scary. The way his body fell into the water, and Lily Rose started to cry, and expressed to me that she
Objection,
was
hearsay.
upset.
As sustained.
You can't say what she said. You can tell expressions or
continue to try to say
observations,
what
but
she
you can't say what Lily Rose said.
So Lily Rose is crying, and then the crying becomes like a panic, like almost like a panic attack, like rapid breathing, crying, lots of questions. And I'm holding her, kind of comforting her, and Johnny comes in, and within a few seconds, I realize that he, kind of shifted his attention on me, and then he seemed very angry. He asked Lily Rose to leave. Lily Rose leaves, looks at me, leaves, crying, and Johnny, I don't remember the words he used, but starts accusing me of kind of like telling on him and calling him, a drunk in front of his kids. I hadn't done that. I was actually trying to protect Johnny. It didn't feel like my place at all to share that with his daughter or anyone at the time, other than adults who might help with it, but not his kids. So I was trying to tell him I was just trying to comfort her. I was trying to protect you. He basically was accusing me of doing this thing and of making them aware of his that he was drinking again. And he slams me up against the side wall of the bedroom of the we were in the bedroom this whole time, but up against the wall of the cabin, and slams me up by my neck and holds me there for a second and tells me that he could fucking kill me. And that was an embarrassment.
Do you know how much pressure it takes to break a human neck?
I was embarrassing. It was embarrassment. This whole thing was a joke. It was all embarrassment. I made him feel sick. And I'll never forget. I'm very, very...
This man is just trying to go to his happy place right now. He is just like, I am escaping.
Very much in love with this whole family now. And he's saying I'm embarrassing to him. And that somehow stuck in me more than the I could fucking kill you. It just sounded like hyperbole. It sounded like something he was just
that probably
saying.
part was
But
probably true.
The names that he was calling me, well, kind of just pushing me up against the wall by my neck. It hurt my feelings. It hurt.
It hurt my feelings.
When I communicated with
Yeah, that's
all
what I
of us
mean.
again, we get
Not me, not the I could end your it hurt my feelings. Bro. Oh, my feelings.
I won't say what she told me, but the next thing we do is we call for a helicopter to come and take us off of the boat or off of the island. So we leave the boat, go to the landing of a part of the island, or maybe it was a different island we had to get to leave, and we take off. I'm holding Lily Rose in my literally holding her under my arm while she's crying, and we're lifting off, and Jack ended up not coming with us at the last minute. He stayed behind.
Right, like his situation is these people are so out of touch. We called the helicopter to take us off because the yacht was going to J.K. Rowling, so it couldn't go back to mainland. You know, a typical Tuesday afternoon of a family vacation.
And we were taking off, and I remember being really torn about leaving. I felt bad about leaving, even though that had happened. I still felt awful leaving. I felt awful leaving him. I also felt like I had done something wrong. He was mad at me. I wasn't sure, what I had done, but I remember not being, I'm getting all these text messages from him calling me all these names and barely coherent, barely. And I'm holding his daughter crying.
And let me just stop you for a moment. Michelle, can you pull up Defendants Exhibit 180?
I do believe that's already in.
It is already into evidence, Your Honor, so if we may publish it to the jury. And Amber, I'm going to ask you to take a look at 180. And this is text messages from Mr. Depp to you. Do you recall these?
Yes, I do.
And are these the text messages?
Yes, that's what he was sending me while I was taking care of his daughter.
What?
That's like they're trying to find words that match or rhyme.
Yeah. Oh, he signed it.
Oh.
Oh man, these aren't great, Johnny. These are not great text messages, my guy.
Your Honor, I'm about to go into another event. Should I keep going?
I mean, that's fine if you think this is a good point to
is
break for
probably-
the day.
I think it's probably good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and conclude for today.
Officer
Again, do not
Squarehead.
read anything about this case, do not do any outside research, and don't discuss it with anybody, okay? Have a good evening. We'll see you in the morning, okay? Thank you.
Man, Lord have mercy. Who is Steve? That's what I'm also confused. I don't know who Steve is. She Steve? Is that what she calls him? I don't understand. She's an actress, but still, I can't believe anything she said. I mean, those text messages were not fantastic. Oh, well, that just glitched. Those text messages were not fantastic. But as we have said, Johnny Depp was a drug addict and an alcoholic. So,
And you know, she hasn't taken any responsibility for doing anything.
right,
Like, we don't really know what she did.
right. Still is not.
You know.
Yeah. I also want to know who is Steve. I don't know how that really works, but yes. So this is the end of the first day, and then we're gonna watch the other days at a later date, and I'll post those. Aside from hating her hair, what did you think about first day, Mom?
Well, I just think that a lot of the testimony that came forth before this, I said this before, you know, the diagnostic of her being tested out with borderline personality and histrionic personality disorder, which are very extreme personality disorders.
Yeah.
I think her stories tend to lean that way. But you know, you're throwing drug use and alcohol use into the mix, so
Yeah, I mean, like I said last time, I think this is a great indicator of two people who brought out the worst in each other, but that is not what the trial is about. It is not about if they were both awful to each other. It's if she said things purposely that were untrue and published them.
but just because he's an addict doesn't mean he's been putting his hands on her.
And that's what I mean. Is like that's not what's up for debate. That's not up for debate. Her sleeping with other men, being faithful, that's not what people are debating. People can be very unfaithful to their partners and not put their hands on them. So like they're not the same thing. What the trial is about is if that op-ed was that she published and she admitted to publishing it is defamation of his character, and he lost money because of it, which I feel, as someone that was watching it, that's been proven. I don't know how the jury's going to feel, though, especially as we go into the cross and all that kind of stuff.
But she could be playing games. She could have been playing games with him the whole time, which is hard to really describe in testimony. Like, because
Right.
it's hard for the person to understand when it's happening.
Yeah, no.
So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks, Mom, for watching this with me. I'll let you go to bed.
Did you see Mikey's comment? Burger loin personality disorder.
It's rough. It's rough. How much longer the trial gonna go? They're off this week, and then the weekend before not Labor Day.
Memorial Day.
Thank you. I always speak that. It's me and my mom. That's my mom's voice. And that's the Friday before that is when they're having closing arguments. So I don't know when that is, like the end of the month or something.
May 30.
Yeah,
I believe.
end of the month. Yeah, so they're taking this week off, and then after that is cross-examination, which I'm super excited to see.
Oh, that's going to be fun because I don't think she can handle being held accountable to certain things.
All right, Mama. I love you. Thanks for doing this with me.
Love you too.
Do you just want to get off, or you want to say bye to everybody?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Mama. There's her bloop. All right, so if you guys don't already subscribe to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get a notification every single time I post new reaction videos. This is technically a reaction, but I'm gonna post it probably at 1 in the morning, the night I recorded it. So I'm gonna do that. So you guys have a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever just you are in the world. You're loved by me, and I'll see you later. Alligator, after a while, crocodile. Bye, guys. Hitting the end record button because I'm gonna continue to stream. Goodbye. Staring into your soul.